Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture just to see how those incidents affect our daily lives. Listen, we're back to our equipment. If you watched my Reasonable Doubt recap, we were over there on my PC, but now we're over here on my MacBook, and we're going to see if we can get this done, y'all. I know I'm late. I know I'm late. Excuse me. We are here to review Atlanta, season 4, episode 8, entitled The Goof Who Sat by the Door. So, this will not be long. I figured that you all have seen other reviews. I will tell you, this episode didn't move me that much. It's clearly a the Goofy movie was clearly a movie that was very near and dear to Danny Glover and the writing staff, and they chose to do a whole mockumentary about the making of this because they believe that the Goofy movie was the blackest Disney movie ever made. And I guess that had to do with a lot of the characters, a lot of the themes that were going on in the Goofy movie. I will tell you, I did not watch the Goofy movie. Sorry. So it didn't, so this episode didn't resonate with me. Um, I will tell you that I tried to upload something about 2 or 3 times. Like I said, this episode didn't resonate. Well, it didn't resonate. The movie didn't resonate with me because I didn't watch the movie. I've probably seen clips because of Tevin Campbell being the musical artist on this movie. But other than that, that was about it. So it didn't resonate with me. But I will tell you, even though it did not resonate with me, it was funny. It was funny because they came up with this whole scenario as to how this movie was made. So we started to follow, let's see, we started to follow, what's his name? Thomas Washington. And they had several of his family members and everything like that. Apparently, Thomas Washington came from Atlanta. He went to Savannah and he studied animation at SCAD. I guess that's what it's called. What it's called. Um, at first, I didn't think that that was a real place. I tell you, I was watching an Instagram post with Jonathan Majors in it, and he was in Savannah, and SCAD was doing a what do you call it? Like the Toronto Internet, what is it? Toronto International Film Festival. You know, but they screen a movie. That's what SCAD was doing. I guess the movie was Devotion. And so I got so tickled because I was like, oh, I didn't even think this was a real place, but I guess it is a real place. Uh, because I saw it in that Instagram clip that I watched. So I was tickled. I was really tickled. I was like, okay, so they're using real places to give you the impression that this actually happened. But basically what it was, we followed the life of Thomas Washington and how he had his rise to be the CEO of Disney back at the time when they made the Goofy movie. And they talked about how he came into power simply by a clerical error. Apparently, uh, they had a couple of CEOs, one to leave, the one to pass away. And so after one passed away, they wanted Thompson Washington to be the next CEO. But what they didn't realize is that Thompson's name wasn't Thomas. And so they all voted for Thomas Washington to be the CEO. And then, to their shock and their amazement, to figure out that they elected the wrong person. I wanted to see if I had I went through several slides. Uh, the Savannah College of Arts and Design. That's what SCAD stands for. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can find that slide that I want to share with you all about them being in the because all this happened during the Rodney King riots. So let me share my screen real quick. All right. So this is the man that took over from Disney, and that was the he was the person that that took over from this Dennis Thompson, but he ended up passing away. So then the board decided that they wanted to, was it this man right here? I think his name. Yes, this is the man that they wanted to bring in, this Thompson Washington, but they called him Tom. But they assumed his name was Thomas, but it wasn't. It was Thompson. And so they all voted for Thomas, Tom Washington. Now, I don't understand. I don't understand why he is looking cross-eyed in this picture. You can't make me understand it. But anyway, when the board voted, they ended up voting for Thomas Washington. And this is how Thomas got the job. And needless to say that they were shook. You hear me? They were shook. But they were in the climate of um, the Rodney King trial and the Rodney King beatings. Uh, if you were born in the 90s, then this was something that you probably would have to look in your history books. But basically, what had happened was it's no different than, well, the only difference is that he did not die by their hands. But uh, this was the first instance of someone recording the police beating uh, a, a, a civilian for a traffic stop. So what happened was is that Rodney King was stopped in his Hyundai uh, on a uh, on a highway in California, in Los Angeles, California. I don't know if he had warrants. I don't know if he had any of those things. But what eventually happened was that he was unarmed and they literally beat the crap out of him. So you all have to understand at that point, when was that? 92, 93, or 94, somewhere in there. That was we had heard that cops uh, would beat on black suspects. And I know that a lot of times that had happened so much that, the black suspects, even if they weren't convicted of anything, no one cared about the fact that they were getting beat. But this was the first time that we had seen as an American collective on a worldwide stage on a TV screen that we saw that the police were beating this suspect. It was like five or six police officers beating this suspect to the point uh, that they maimed him and caused harm. He did not die, but the pictures that we saw, how bad they beat him. His face was swollen, his body was swollen, and that was a look that had been imprinted on a lot of our brains at that time. And then to see him, the officers were then found not guilty. And then to see Rodney King after his wounds had healed, because I think they went to trial about a year or year and a half after the incident. But to see Rodney King after his wounds healed and then the people were found not guilty, and to realize uh, the severity that they beat him, because he was a very good looking guy. And when we saw his pictures, I mean, they had beaten him to the point that he was swollen. Um, but we just assumed, and I ain't gonna hold you, I just assumed that he was a heavier set man, like myself, a little fluffy, a lot fluffy. Need to stop. You need to stop there. But then when you saw him, that he was a tall, slender, good looking guy, and that they beat him till he was that swollen. A lot of people were very, very angry. And a lot of people were very, very angry about the fact that there was no justice about that. And I think the rallying cry was no justice, no peace. And so the populace, particularly of the uh, Black Americans, African American populace, they started to riot, and there was a lot of stuff going on. So all of that to say is this is the climate in which this took place, and so those CEOs were not going to be part of that climate, particularly when they knew that they literally all voted this man in. They voted this man in. And so to see their faces, to see their faces, to realize that they voted this man in, and he is a black man with no experience. Because let me just go back. I think I've gone too far to the left. Um, when Thomas started at Disney, he was just an animator, a regular animator. And so he went from being a regular animator to the CEO. So they're saying, according to this mockumentary, that that when he became the CEO, uh, he had this mind to do this goofy movie. He was going to do this goofy movie for his son. Here they are giving him the handshake. You see the guy, he's not willing to handshake, and the man that's shaking his hand, he don't really want to shake his hand, because they knew that they had voted the wrong person in. She is one of the people that is describing what's happening in this documentary. But let's get let me get back up here. So you have this man, and he is really, really wanting to push this goofy movie. This goofy movie he is wanting to push because he wants to do it for his son. And then how does the Spider-Man thing says, with the great power becomes great responsibility. And we see that he kind of went overboard. He had a vision, but he didn't have the wherewithal to get this vision out. He was trying to do too many things at one time. All of his This is his cousin. This is one of the animators that was there during this time, talking about how Thomas was working this out through. And what tickled me is, this is another animator. I don't know if I have a picture of that. Um, that he was trying to get all these different tropes that happen to black people. He was trying to get them all in a goofy movie. Uh, they talked about his marriage and how his marriage was strained, and the wife was talking about how it was good at first. This is the wife, and there were problems in the marriage. And one of the things that I saw with this is that she tried to gloss it over. That uh, they do talk about that he had been drinking, but she had talked about that he had been so obsessed about being the president and making sure that he did a good job and making sure that he got this goofy movie out. That at first he was, when he was just the animator, he was a great husband. He was doing everything, but once he got to be the CEO, his attitude and things changed. And she did kind of recognize that that he was a little violent with her. She tried to play it off as, so many women do. That trope that he was a good man. He was just going through some things. That's what the way she was trying to pull it through. But we see that he kind of lost focus in regards to his family and everything to do this, to do this movie. One of the things I thought was cute was the fact that he had all these different celebrities come through. Um, I don't think I have any more information. Uh-oh. Uh, I didn't take too many pictures, so yeah, let me just close this out. It ended up that he had all these artists and actors in the facility talking about the movie, talking about his progress and which way he wanted to get this movie. But anyway, it ended up that he spiraled out of control, meaning that his emotion. He was trying to do so much or put so much into this movie that what it was going to be really too much for it. So what the powers at B did was they took control of the movie, and they took everything that he put in and they pared it down to a trope that was palatable for everybody. And that kind of pissed him off. And he got upset. Uh, he went into almost like a slight mental breakdown, and then he disappeared. They found his car in a river, in a lake, excuse me, and I don't have the pictures for it, but they presume him to be dead. But one of the things that they showed, like the goofy shoes, they showed the goofy hands, and that was pretty much the end of the episode. So what did I get out of that episode? We see it's very important that one of the tropes that hit me in this review is when they first started out is the talk about how we as black folks. Let me see if I can get over here. Hold on. One of the tropes that I saw that resonated with me was the fact that during that time, if you were someone, and particularly if you were a black man, excuse me, if you were a black man of a certain height, or if you were a black man, period, and that if you did not act or your behaviors weren't in line with gang culture or adjacent gang culture, you were considered not to be black enough. You were acting white. So to see this young man be criticized by his community because he liked to draw, and that was important to him. To see that he liked to draw, and that was important to him, and that the people within his community called him corny, called him names, called him simp, called him lame, because of the fact that that was something that he wanted to do. That resonated with me. Um, I got a lot of microaggressions in regards to that, just simply because I enunciate uh, my words. You had people in the community, oh, you're trying to act white. I cannot act white. You can clearly see me. I do not have the visual cues to give you that I am a white woman. Uh, it was deceiving, particularly if you talked to me on the telephone. You would assume that I was a white woman or a white adjacent woman. But when you saw me, you knew that not to be true. That was one of the themes that resonated with me. Another thing that resonated with me was if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, and you don't have to do the things that you need to do to do that. And that reminded me, particularly when the clerical error happened, that he had a vision, but he didn't have the ability to proceed with his vision. I think he spent so much trying to convince or to educate white people about what was going on, because we saw that little incident where the guy went to a cookout, the white guy went to the cookout and he got beat up. But you had a decent amount of black animators, and you had a decent amount of animators that could do the work. Had he just focused on the the movie itself, instead of trying to educate the people or bring the people in about his plight and all this other stuff, I think he would have gotten through with this movie a little quicker. I don't know. I just felt like that. But I think if he had, with his vision of what he wanted to do, I think if he had, if he had stayed ready and just gone with that vision of the Goofy movie without all of this trying to put 20, 50, and 11 themes in there, pick out the top three or four themes and go with it, I think he would have made a well-rounded movie. And I also think that if he had done that first, he would have had enough information and things that he could have done a second movie. Just me. Just me. Um, but that's it. That's what I got out of it. Like I said, uh I didn't watch the Goofy movie, so I don't have any type of I don't have a reference to know what went on with the movie. The only thing that I knew about that was Tevin Campbell was the musical act there. I don't know exactly what went on in that movie to, like to even to guide you through that. So like I said, this episode didn't resonate with me. I just picked out the little things that I saw, and that's it. That's all I have. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Please support this channel by hitting the like button and also subscribe. Upon subscribing, you will see that I have several playlists of several different TV shows and movies that I have reviewed. They're binge watchable. You can watch those reviews and let me know what you think. Let's chop it up in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Uh there's going to be a new episode of Atlanta on tomorrow. So, but I will be up to date on that. I wanted to get everything out. Also, I wanted to let you know that Peacock has just released The Best Man, the final chapters. And it is going to be a limited series. It's going to be 8 episodes, and we are going to review it because Atlanta will be ending. Where are we? We've got 2 more episodes. So we will probably go into the Thanksgiving season with the last 2 episodes of Atlanta. We will continue through with Reasonable Doubt. We have 3 more episodes of Reasonable Doubt. So that means that coming into this season, we will have those 2 shows ending. However, I will be reviewing Black Panther Wakanda Forever when it comes out next week. So you check, look out for those reviews. Um, I think that's it. So the next thing that I'll be reviewing is The Best Man. And so all the actors have come back for that series. If you have not checked out The Best Man, there are 2 movies. Go ahead and review those. I think that they're on Tubi, and I want to say they're on Netflix, but don't quote me. Whatever studio that they're with, they're probably on that streaming service. So it might be Universal, it might be NBC Universal. So we may see it. Um, you may see it on Peacock. You can review those movies, and maybe that's what I will do. I'll review the 2 movies up until uh, the opening of that series. But let me know if you've got a series or anything that you would like for me to review. Let me know down in the comments. But also, if you would just shoot me an email at Pam Entertainment TV, that's one word, at gmail.com. You should see it on the side of the screen, but just take Pam Entertainment TV and put it into one word. And then at gmail.com. If there's a series or a movie that you would like for me to review, let me know. Because then we're getting into, let me see, the next year. So we will be reviewing Ant-Man and the Wasp, simply because Jonathan Majors is in there. We will be reviewing Creed 3 because Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors are in there. And also, I think Devotion is coming out pretty soon, or it's going to be out pretty soon, or it's already out. I am going to review that movie as well. So that's what my lineup looks like. If it's okay with you all, shoot me a comment down below. And as always, people, bye bye.